Hello, welcome to our zeroth slash first episode, first or second episode. We kind of already did one episode, but this is like the first recap of the new season of the Challenge All Stars 3. We're live. I'm already fumbling my words. Going live is a terrifying concept, but we're here. We're going to get through it. We're going to learn, and we're excited to talk about this new season of the Challenge All Stars 3, which dropped 2 episodes that we're here to talk about, both in one recap. And for those of us who are listening to our podcast, we're actually live right now on YouTube. Check us out at Hello Reality, our new rebranded name for our little enterprise that we got going on here. I'm going to cut myself off there now, though. Yeah, enterprise. We need a better word for that. But before we get into all that, Joseph, my partner in crime, my pen pal from across the country, reality TV aficionado. We've been talking nonstop for 8 years about these shows, and we're still going strong. How are you doing? The challenge is back.
I'm excited. I talked about this last time, but I had some time to miss the challenge. Glad that it's back. I told you I was initially underwhelmed by the 2 episodes when I watched them, but on the rewatch, I really enjoyed them.
I'm surprised that you were underwhelmed with the episodes the first time you watched them. I'm glad you come around on them because I thought they were fire, man. I love them. I thought they got off to a hot start for Tina alone, if no one else.
Yeah, Tina was great. I love how she kept referencing the fact that she redeemed herself, like after her elimination. Like it was just like I did it. And it's just like if you say it enough, it just is what it is. I didn't think it was the most redemptive thing. You know what I mean? Beating somebody who hasn't been on the show in like 20 odd years in the first elimination that you got sent into, even though one of your best friends was in the deliberation. But, you take your wins where you get them, right?
Joe, so some of these eliminations, I mean, they're going to be like that on All Stars, okay? They're going to be like, okay, someone was going to win no matter what. You have to have a winner. Sometimes it's really impressive and someone earns a win and it's like legendary. And sometimes it's like, okay, you get a win, but this shouldn't even really count as a win. But I think
I'm just being tough on Tina too.
Yeah, I know, but I think this cast is actually stacked, and that's one reason why I'm excited for this season. It's weird. I feel like we're kind of blurring the line between All Star and the main challenge. Like, if anything, this might be a better cast than the main challenge these days. It's crazy, right?
I would actually agree with that. I think the thing that was most noticeable in these 2 episodes was the infusion of the new school strategy into like this like all-star strategy, and seeing those worlds kind of like bump heads. And I think we'll get more into that as we talk about the episode. But I thought that was an interesting dynamic of having these newer challenge people with the old school veterans.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. And before we dive into it, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, 2 great eliminations, like 1.5. Some big names going out early. Honestly, some names that I'm kind of happy about going out early. Like I feel like we're keeping in all the biggest storylines going into episode 3. Before we do all that, though, Joseph, give me an update on your life. Okay, the people are dying to know. What have you been up to in the last few months? What's new with you? What have you accomplished with your life? Tell me.
Why are you doing this to me?
I want to put you on the spot. And listen, Joseph, people tuning in, they care about us, okay?
No, they don't.
They don't speak. They lurk in the background.
They want to hear us talk about the challenge.
They definitely don't leave YouTube comments, but they care, Joseph. You're wrong. Yes. Give me a quick update. Give me just a quick update. I barely talked with you in these few months. We barely talk when reality shows aren't on. This is what brings us back together.
I like it that way. Yeah, no.
That's why we had to change our name from Reality Friends.
I've been getting a lot of coffee enemas done. That's what I've been doing.
That was gonna be my intro, and then I forgot to say it. Yeah, we're the 2 guys. You got a coffee enema. That's so weird. I got a chocolate enema before the podcast. It's how I stay loose and fit to podcast. No, but seriously, what's up? What have you been up to?
You're just same old.
You're stalling because you haven't done anything in your life. That's. I think I figured it out.
I just
that's
why you don't want to answer. I just didn't think about it. What have you done, Mister?
No, nothing at all. I've been extremely unemployed. It's been the saddest life ever for the last few months. Thought I had something in the works to get excited about. Nope. So
But
now,
guess what? Nobody cares.
you're heartless. If one person
Yeah.
cares, drop a comment on YouTube. And again, by the way, subscribe, please. If you're listening to this and you want to keep getting our podcast, we're trying to do big things with this. Got some graphics coming up, videos too, once I figure out how to clip videos and use those in this live stream recap. Okay, Joseph, fine. We'll stop
get to
talking
the
about
episode.
ourselves.
Come on.
Look, okay, go for it. By all means.
Okay.
Why don't you start us off? What do you want to start with this episode? We'll
I
start with episode one.
thought I liked the Kansas scenes of everybody like coming together that were like seemingly scripted to some degree. We have Veronica and Tina come in first. That was fun, right? We like that. Wes and Nehemiah Melinda come in together. You know, I like that they didn't spend too much time introducing people too. They kind of yada through it, so I thought it was fine.
You remember the first season? I think we had almost an entire episode that was all intros of the players. All Stars 1. Something is telling me that we had like really long intros. I agree with you. I like this. This felt nice and short and snappy, and we didn't see like everybody's drawn out return to the challenge. It was like, here's some of the big stories. Like, right? Here's some of the interesting people coming back in.
Yes. And we have Naya and Jordan. I thought they, those two have been canceled in the past for things. People weren't sure if Jordan like wasn't coming back to the show because like past remarks he had made on Real World seasons that had gotten like dug up again and retweeted and stuff like that. So seeing them on here and seeing them explain themselves, I think obviously shows they're not blacklisted. And, shows that there's room for growth for both of them. And, I am willing to give Naya a chance. I'm willing to give Jordan a chance.
Yeah, I actually like that they're back, for sure. I mean, Jordan, I didn't have any idea what he did or said that deserved some kind of apology. Naya had a rough exit in the last season, but I think people tend to grow and change and improve themselves. And it's been a long time since we've seen Naya. Ready to see what she can do this season. Hopefully she gets a really cool redemption story and does great. She's off to a seemingly good start this season.
Or maybe she'll ruin it, and you know what I mean? That might be entertaining too, but if she doesn't
Sure.
get to maybe the level she has before,
yeah,
some type of drama might be nice too.
People light their career prospects and social value on fire on these shows. That's really entertaining for us people watching. Yeah, we love to root for that. Good point, Joseph. Also, it's me, Vandy commented, no, we don't. I'm assuming she meant no, we don't want to get to the show. We want to hear more about your lives. So I appreciate that. I'm guessing that's what you meant. Thanks, Vandy, for commenting that. Anyway.
Yes, clearly what she meant.
Yes. The other big pair going in, Tina and Veronica coming back in. And for those who don't know, Joseph, you're the OG fan here. I really have almost no knowledge of Veronica's games where she won 3 seasons. It seems like from the episodes, they got off to a kind of rough start in this game where they're not really fully trusting each other the way they used to. Can you tell us a little bit about their background and what you expect out of the two of them going into the season?
I think that, they both just ruled the challenge back in the day. Before, it got taken over by Kenny and Evan and those guys. It was really everybody going through Coral, Tina, Veronica, or Rachel. Depending on whom was cast on those seasons and who was together on them, it seemed like everything got ran through them. And Veronica's just super strategic. She's very savvy. We saw the move she made on Dirty 30 to get Leroy sent in when she realized that all she had to do was switch her vote. She's willing to play the game. She's willing to make big moves. She's obviously, I don't think, one of the most, athletic people. She's gotten eliminated first from one of the Champs versus Stars seasons and stuff like that. So she did get 3rd place in this daily right here. But, her and Tina, I don't know if they're going to have the same type of power they did back in the day, especially with people like Sylvia and Kayla in the house who seem to also be very, alpha competitors.
Okay, so they ruled the roost before the Guys Alliance, the JEK, took over. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen this season. It doesn't seem like it, does it? It seems like they're just kind of in there with everybody else, and they're not even working together. Was that surprising to you, Veronica? Just kind of happily putting Tina into the elimination.
I mean, I think that people, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that people think that in these situations they can't be like, hey, that's like my closest person. I really don't want to throw them in. I feel like you could go on a limb like that, and I don't know if people would necessarily be mad at you, especially if you said like, "Hey, just not the first one." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think if she would have maybe gone for that angle, but like, look, I'm not saying I'll never vote Tina in, but just not the first one. Like, I would really feel bad if she went home on. You know what I mean? I feel like she maybe could have done that. She decided not to go that route. But like Tina even said after the challenge, she was like, she's only one of six people, and that was like the safest move for everybody to make, not
Yeah,
make any waves. So I don't know.
I kind of get it, but like, look what Kayla did in the next one. The next what are we calling them now? The Authority.
Yes,
She made
the
it.
tribunal.
No, no, don't confuse me. It's the Authority. I'm sticking with it. Kayla pulled an interesting move. She got everyone to essentially protect someone. Why didn't Veronica at least try that? Did we just not see it? Like, it seemed like she really just rolled over and let people put in her closest friend going into this game. I don't really understand. I mean, we're going out of order now, but I don't know. I was surprised.
Yeah, we'll get into it when we get into it.
Okay.
We see the Wes is a piece of shit montage basically of all the past all these confessionals of people being like he's Rumpelstiltskin, used car salesman, the typical Wes montage, I'd say.
Yeah,
Intro package rather.
this has become quite the formulaic job for Wes coming on these seasons. He comes on, everyone rips on him and says they don't trust him. He plays into his mastermind edit role more and more every single season to the point where I personally feel like it's starting to get a little stale. I don't really believe
Whoa.
that he believes the things he's saying. He doesn't feel like an actual person anymore. He feels like Wes the cartoon character. He's like one of those diabolical villains like from a Saturday morning cartoon. Very two-dimensional.
I do agree with that to a certain extent, but I thought he was really funny these two episodes. I didn't mind it. I still was digging it. I don't know. Yeah.
Look, let's actually okay, hold on a second. See if I can figure out how to do this. Boom. There's Wes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. If you're watching live,
We
we're
got a
gonna have
lot
some
of those
visuals.
scenes. We got a lot of scenes like that these two episodes.
Lot
Wes on a treadmill.
lot of
Staying
Wes
up
on a
with
treadmill.
resistance.
Lot of
Yeah.
Wes on a treadmill.
Thinking
Uh,
about getting rid of Jordan
there
the
we go.
whole time I'm at it. How am I going to get rid of Jordan? How am I going to get rid of Jordan?
We got a few rivalries. It's Wes and Jordan who may or may not be going after each other, not directly quite yet.
Wes and Yes.
And then Wes and Yes.
The backwards alliteration on that is just, I don't know what you would call that. Like,
I am so excited for Wes versus Yes. I mean, that's just so funny to say. First of all, they're diametrically opposing players in so many senses, and Wes, I mean, Yes, does not care for Wes's game at all. We know that going
no.
in. He really,
Yeah.
really hates Wes's game.
And we see it more so when they get into deliberation together, and it makes sense when you think about it on paper. But yeah, they are just diametrically opposed, and I kind of get it too because I think that Wes is somebody who it's fun to watch him from our perspective, but I'm sure playing with him is not as fun.
I mean, depends on your definition of fun, I guess, right? Did you know that Tyler's diaphragm moved a few millimeters after his elimination loss to
I
Letarian?
feel like I did know that, not that he said it, but just based on the fact that he went against Letarian, it's like a given.
I didn't know that
you're
your
gonna break at
diaphragm
least
could
3
move.
ribs.
I didn't know that that was a thing that could happen. I mean, the ribs did not surprise me. The diaphragm thing,
Scientists didn't know it either until
yeah,
Tyler.
I guess not.
LP, yeah.
And Tyler is coming into this game. It's going to be a short run for Tyler, but he is coming in with a solid alliance. Do you know about the Hot Sluts Alliance going into this game, Joseph?
Tyler had a confessional where he was like, "I'm here to like be friends with everybody, and it's so good to be here to see my friends." and that's when I knew he was going out. Like that, like
It's
that
never
episode.
good.
I was like, oh, that's not,
The
not a
kiss
great
of
sign.
death. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. He did not last long in this game. I
And you know what? During the preview show, I wanted to call him the first Vu. I wanted to call it, but I didn't. I didn't have the guts.
well,
Didn't have it.
yeah. You gotta have guts. You gotta be willing to stand out on a limb and do that.
Tyler was saying that too. He was like, you have to make big moves. You have to do all this and what?
Yeah. He might be moving down in the rankings for next season. We had him at 7th going in based on stupid stats that were almost meaningless, and he's probably going to be down outside the top 8 next time. Shall we get to the first daily, which was essentially just a puzzle?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I thought was underwhelming about the episode. Both the daily and the elimination. I thought the daily could have been more physical. Like they could have done something, like maybe have like a tunnel that they run through beforehand to like squeeze their way through it before they get to the thing. Just something. I don't know. It just wasn't really as compelling as I think that they imagined it would be.
I don't think so either. I think for the first challenge, the challenge that sets the tone, that starts things off the season. Why are we doing this? Like, this is so dumb, right?
And poor Cyrus. Like once again, it's like a puzzle that directly like hurts like him because of his disability.
Oh my god, it was just like a middle finger to Cyrus. He's such a good sport about it too. He was like my vision's not that good. Oh yeah, and I'm colorblind, and this is like all about colors.
He even laughed after like he's like, oh, this sucks, and like you could tell he was actually mad, but he was trying to laugh it off and be cool about it.
He had the best line. Like, well, actually, Tina had like the top 5 lines I think of both episodes. And then Cyrus, who's so funny after, he's like, the only fucking thing is don't come in fucking last. That's what he said. I was like, oh my god, Cyrus is so funny. Some of his lines are so corny. Like I feel like he has corny like dad joke type lines, like real cheesy jokes.
Some of them aren't working for me. Like he had the one where it was like everyone wanted to check, and he was like, "Oh, I tip well." Like like
that was one of them. Thank you. Yeah,
yeah, you would like that one. Yeah.
No, the opposite. The opposite. Believe it or not, like too corny even for me.
LT had a confessional that was very uncharacteristic for this memory challenge, where he was like, oh man, my memory's so bad, and then he faked forgetting what he was about to say, and he's like, oh, what was I about to say?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, I'm old, and he started laughing. I was like, who is this?
He deserved to go home after that. Yeah, well deserved exit.
He had some other moments that I thought made up for it, but anyway.
Well, not in my book. A lot of other moments couldn't get over that confessional for me. Okay.
So
the challenge.
Everybody's like, we can't have Wes win the challenge. Can't have Wes win this memory challenge. Wes obviously wins the challenge and puts everybody on their toes.
Yeah. Except for Yes, who is pumped that he got second and is trying to spin it like, oh, you don't want to get first in these challenges. You want to get second. Do you think he actually thought that going into the challenge, or was he like just retro fitting the reward of finishing first to his
Did they know about the sabotage thing?
That's what I'm trying to say, and I'm not doing a good job of it. But like,
I don't remember either.
They do their confessionals after they find out about the sabotage and all that. Like, I'm sure Yes would have wanted to win in the moment before he found out that like, the top 3 are safe.
There's no way. I don't think Yes is the type of player who would throw something to do worse. Just, you know what I mean? He just doesn't seem like the type. So.
He could be happy that he got second. I mean, that's fine. And then MJ gets third for the guys. Guess what? The colorblind guy lost. Can you imagine that, Joseph? Cyrus is last.
Who was second to last? Oh, Tyler.
Tyler was. Yeah. Remember that whole part where they put the second to last person in? Yeah, it was Tyler.
I watched it, I swear. The women go up next, and Sylvia apparently finishes it in half the time that Wes did. So very impressive.
Yeah, first try, as someone pointed out. I think Jordan, Sylvia, she does pretty well in the next puzzle too. Sylvia's off to a really hot start. She's like that person who, I hate to say it because it feels like she said it 3 times already this first episode, but she apparently is underestimated, and people keep underestimating her, and she keeps doing pretty well in these shows, and I can't really argue with that.
She kind of is still.
Yeah, I keep underestimating her.
I feel like she could win this season, and people will be like, oh, she got lucky.
Yeah, I'll probably say that at some point if she wins.
I will be that person. Yeah.
But she's doing great.
So who comes up next, John A. or
Close. John A gets 7th, so real close. It's Kellyanne in 2nd this time. She kills this puzzle. Then Veronica
Yes.
is 3rd, and as we will find
Yes.
out later, those are the players who are going to make the Authorita this season. The latest rebranded power grouping players.
At first, I didn't like this. I thought there's too many people. But actually seeing the deliberations and seeing that some very weird choices came out of having these deliberations, I kind of like it because it seemed like there was some random picks based off of this that maybe normally wouldn't go in.
I did too, actually. I do. Let's talk about the authority and that concept for a second. Also, I'm struggling with putting comments on the screen. Got to figure that out for the next one. I just wanted to say, Unicarnival, I just want to let you know I used up all my monthly high-speed data watching you stream. Worth it. Thanks, random stranger who I have no personal connection to in my daily life. That was really nice of you to say. And again, I don't know who you are, so thanks whoever said that. Wanted to shout that out. Joseph, the authority. You like it. You think this is a good format, and not just because of how it played out the first 2 episodes.
No, I'm not. Actually, okay, so they need to whittle it down the less people there is. So I think that eventually it should become 2 and 2, like 2 men, 2 women. I think when you're having to only pick between 2 or 3 people, that's not as fun. So that would be my only thing. I hope that it gets smaller. But
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I feel like it almost has to. What do we have? 24
But I
players
hope it
going
gets-
into the season.
I hope it gets smaller at an earlier point. I hope it doesn't like stay at 3 for too much longer.
Okay,
guess
gotcha.
Like, maybe a couple more episodes.
Okay. I can see it. This still feels like there's a ton of players in the game to me, but
There are.
I don't know.
For sure.
I just like the format in general. I agree. I don't know why, but the tribunal felt a little less effective than this right here. Like I think I'm gonna key in on what you said. I think you're right. This amount of players, it's like more than 3, and to the point where it starts to get to the point where like there's gonna have to be a disagreement. Someone's gonna have to compromise. With 3 people, it felt like the choices were a little too easy sometimes.
Yes, with 2 people, maybe 4 people would maybe have that same problem. Another thing is I feel like on the challenge proper and maybe on All Stars too, we've had a lot of like people, the whole house, like voting essentially amongst each other. And I don't think that's really warranted the results that they thought it would on any of these seasons.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's really like there has been some good moments from it for sure, but I think fewer and further between people just gives these canned ass speeches that we have to listen to, and I don't know.
Yep, I agree. I think that they've had a real problem in All-Star seasons with the voting. It's felt very, very boring, drama-free, not interesting. They've gotten their patterns and they stuck to it. And this time, finally, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the authority solves that. We'll have to see. 2 show notes. One.
And last place goes in.
And last place, yeah.
I just know that's always a huge thing for you.
I know this gets you really excited. I get it. No problem. Yes, last place goes in. I love that. I just enjoy that. It adds when you don't have last place go in. It feels like the stakes are not very high for the dailies, and I like it when everyone's got a fear of death and when they play these and their life's on the line.
Yes.
2 notes. One, didn't change the title, so this video preseason rankings and predictions. Ignore that. Working out the kinks. Secondly, we didn't talk about Cynthia losing. She lost, and she's gonna automatically go in. I wanted to mention that and also say Cynthia was freaking hilarious this first episode. I am bummed that she went home. She had a couple good lines throughout, I thought.
Yeah, on the preview show, I kind of talked about it that on her original season, Real World Miami, she was probably the most likable person on that whole season. Amongst a very drama-filled cast. She was a ray of sunshine, and see her back after 20 years was really nice. Sucks to see her go out. But man, I feel like all these people take it so good on All Stars, like going out first. Like she was a champ about it, like through her exit interviews and everything like that. And I hope she does come back. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I see what you
If
meant
not
about
this, Real World Homecoming.
There you go. I know you're into that. Yeah, I'll watch it eventually, Joseph. I promise. One of these
don't
days.
lie to me.
One of these days. I will. I got the time. Cynthia was great. We'll talk about her elimination coming up in a little bit. Just wanted to say she seemed really fun. And as we turn to the jungle party,
Which I like this theme. this was like one of the better parties I feel like I've seen in a minute. I must
It
say.
was a fun theme.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Oh, look at you,
look at
Eric.
that, and you can't help. What we're seeing is what is
Whoa.
Tyler's alter ego's name again? Can you help me out? I forgot to write it
Can
down.
I don't remember. So did you like download these pictures for the podcast or for your own personally? Like, I'm just curious.
Can it be
You
both,
just have
Joseph?
these.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Do you have Wes in the lion outfit? Do you have that picture? I thought that was a good outfit. But
You know,
anyway, this
ask and you
this
shall
was
receive, Joseph.
no
There he is.
way. There we go. So cool. I'm glad that they like somehow coordinated this before the season, so they could all bring their costumes. That's fun.
I was wondering about that. Do you think they brought their costumes, or do you think the challenge, like arts and props department, said like, "Here, pick from
Oh,
here"?
I feel like that's giving them too much credit, right? That
Probably.
they have like all this like lying around.
Do you think they
But who
went out
knows?
and bought? Like, do you think Wes bought this on Amazon before he went out? They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you're gonna need a lion costume. You're gonna need an underwater costume. You're gonna need like
Yeah.
this." And what if you go home first? You just have like 10 unnecessary costumes lying around. Like, who's gonna want to buy all these things? This is the stuff that
Yeah,
we
you
got to
can't sell
talk
them
about.
back.
This is the important part about the episode, okay? I
Yeah.
want to know the logistics behind their costume parties and who's buying for these outfits that are ridiculous. I got some more to show too, by the way.
Uh
Here's a little group shot.
oh. Oh, there we go.
They're elaborate. I don't think people have these lying around. I mean, like, I certainly don't.
That's what I mean. I feel
Yeah.
like they would have had to buy them beforehand.
There's John A in like
Um,
a full, like a, what would that be? A tiger suit, I guess. So you got some cheetah prints, everything. We got a grass skirt. Someone in the back. I can't really tell who
Very
that is.
cat-esque.
Yeah,
Is that Darrell?
this could pass for like the scene for the movie Cats. Anyway, at the
Yeah.
party, Cynthia gets asked, I think by Sylvia, who she wants to go up against, and Cynthia declines. I thought this was an interesting question and answer. Do you think that that's the right move to not name a name?
I don't think it matters. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's actually probably better to do what she did, even whether or not she knew it, because it's just like we saw later with Tina. It's like nobody cares, like what you actually want or think.
Right.
It might make things easier for them, I think, if you say somebody who maybe they already thought about, or maybe they're in between about. Maybe that would push it a certain way. But it seems like picking the person who was second to last was always going to be the go-to move. And honestly, if I'm Cynthia, I don't hate going against Tina. Like, you know what I mean? Like, out of all these women, like a lot of them look pretty tough in comparison. You know what I mean? Does she want to go against Kayla, John A, or Kendall, Kellyanne? Like, you know what I mean? There's not
Yeah.
a lot of great choices. So, do you really want to go out of your way just to get an elimination with Jemmye, who might still beat you too, because you know she's got some years on you? I don't know.
I think it's a good point. Yeah, I agree. I actually think that not saying a name in this case is probably the best way to go about it. And I always feel like, that's like the easy way out for the authority, the tribunal, whatever. It's like, oh, so-and-so said so-and-so. So like, we're just going to do that. I mean, that's kind of how All-Stars 1 played out, isn't it? Didn't everyone kind of get to pick their opponent for a while? I might be mixing that up
Yeah.
with another season. It's boring as shit. So thank you, Cynthia, if nothing else, for not letting that precedent take over. We get actual decisions.
And LT was the same way, which I was, not surprised about, I guess, because that seemingly lines up with, everything we know about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, this first round, nobody was really trying to angle, which I felt like last season, it was like everybody was like, seemed like Nehemiah was trying to get like Ryan in the elimination against him and stuff like that. So
yeah,
just
so
funny.
Overjoyed, very happy about how the first two decisions have gone. I feel like this is just starting off on such a better foot where we're getting some actual decisions, some drama, some people not agreeing, some people having to make political moves. We're going to talk about in the next episode Kayla coming in ready to play with how she handled the authority. I thought that was super interesting. So way better, big improvement. Good job challenge, I think, for introducing the authority. It's weird. I never would have guessed. I didn't love the tribunal. I kind of liked it more when people like won individually and had to just pick someone like unilaterally. But I feel like the tribunal 3, whatever, that didn't work. But you go one or the other, either like this big group decision or a one person making a decision. For me, that seems to lead to the best, most interesting outcomes.
So we get Tyler trying to pitch to Veronica why he thinks she should stay,
Yeah.
or he should stay. And I actually thought that maybe this could work to appeal to certain people because a lot of these people are here. You know, a lot of them know they're probably not going to win. Like, you know what I mean? Realistically, a lot of them are here to have fun and stuff like that. So maybe an argument like that could appeal to them. It didn't seem to. Especially someone like Veronica is probably a little bit more strategic than that.
Tyler's
So I don't know if
argument.
this was a right pitch, but go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were done. Tyler's argument was, I thought, so transparent, so stupid. He was like, "You're like, hey Veronica, I'm just gonna sit down next to you. You know how I would vote? I would vote on who's the most fun, right? Who's gonna bring the most looks
Like
to the
me.
party? Who has a fun alter ego? You know, hypothetically, that's how I would vote." It's like, Tyler, you're just describing yourself, dude. Shut up. Like, this is so blatant, I thought. And yeah, I don't think it worked on Veronica at all. Reading her body language, don't think she really was going for what Tyler was trying to sell her. And clearly she didn't really give a shit once she got to the authority. So good try, Tyler. He calls himself a politician. I don't think he was at his political best this time around.
Jordan says that although Wes might be after him, that he's not after Wes, and he wouldn't mind going into a final. Yeah, no shit. You wouldn't mind going to a final against anybody.
Yeah.
Like that's your goal is just to get there.
And we're gonna get that. Let's transition to the authority for this Jordan talk because, of course, like this has to be a conversation. Jordan is miles ahead of everybody else, seemingly, on terms of threat level going into this game, and everyone knows it, right? So it's natural that he would be a person that people might want to throw in. Wes actually says, if you listen carefully, he brings up the Jordan thing and says like, oh, he didn't mind what MJ, his boss, said at one point about throwing in Jordan, but he also said he didn't think it was the right move at this time. Wes is very much in favor of the safer, boring, forgettable move of putting in the second to last place finishers, setting a precedent, as he says, that winners don't go in. People who don't finish near the bottom of the pack don't go in. So he's actually hoping to set a precedent that sticks, which it does not going into the next episode.
Which I thought was a good move from Wes. I also thought it was strange that I didn't expect MJ to be the one to throw out Jordan's name like that. So I thought that was interesting on his part. Maybe just putting the seeds out there, and people are probably just going to blame Wes for it anyway. And this is the first time that we see kind of some dissension really between Yes and Wes, with Yes responding to MJ's first proposal of being like, hey, let's get rid of Jordan. Don't want to run in a final against him. Yes, being like, well, I want to go against the best and challenge myself and all that, which I think he's totally being genuine. It's not a good idea, but that's how he feels, and I don't think anybody else was really biting on that seemingly.
MJ had a really good facial reaction to that. He looked visibly annoyed with Yes's answer.
Yeah.
If you missed it, it was so funny. Yeah. Yes. It is that classic, like, oh, I want to go against the best. Oh, how noble, how brave. I think it's also kind of self-serving. I think if you're talking about who is the biggest threat to win a final once you get there, past all the eliminations, Yes is probably the biggest threat behind Jordan, based on just, looks. That guy's cut. He was like, a running machine, seemingly. He beat Darrell in an endurance final.
And he brought up the fact that he's like the smallest dude there, and I feel like in some ways that is probably beneficial to him because a lot of these dudes are like super big, bulky. They're carrying around a lot of like fat. You know what I mean? He's just like super cut, and you know what I mean. And just it seems like his body type is just more, Jordan's as well, just more prone for that type of final.
Once you get to a final, yeah. If Yes goes into some of these backbreaking eliminations like pole wrestle or hall brawl,
the one Mark and Laterrian did. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. He'd be like you and me in there, Joseph, just snapped like a twig. I think against some of these players.
Yeah. I would have ran the opposite direction initially, just to avoid.
You would have run out the arena before they could attach me to that harness in the next episode. See ya. Bye, guys.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah. But yeah, so this is where I guess Tina doesn't really stand up or I'm sorry, Veronica doesn't really stand up
Right.
for Tina, like we talked about before. Not too much more than that. I don't think anybody. It didn't seem like anybody was super pushing for that. Maybe other than Wes. And man, it's so funny how Wes just ends up getting his way. You know what I mean? Like really, no matter what
Temporarily.
happens.
Yeah, for now. For now.
Temporarily.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's
Okay.
going to stick. I don't think he's playing the greatest game in terms of winning people over.
No.
It's like he read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then was like, I'm going to do literally the exact opposite of this and see how that works out in a political game. And you know, it's interesting.
What has he done so? What has he done so far that's been like bad?
You know, it's probably more the confessionals that I'm talking about, to be honest. But it just seems like everyone else is talking about how he's acting, so I'm kind of just assuming that he's going around saying things to them in person as well. Maybe it's just an assumption people are making about the type of game he plays. I do think he gets a bad rap for playing a snaky game when in reality, I think he's actually a kind of loyal player to some of his allies, if even if he is like totally self-interested. But I just think he's going around talking about how he loves to say names. He's using the thing against Jordan, firing the first shot against him. I don't know. I would be surprised if he wasn't putting a target on himself.
I also feel like it's one of those things where it's like, hey, look, the cat's out of the bag on me, and if I pretend to be this like innocent, that might be worse. You know what I mean? In some ways.
Yeah.
There is probably a good medium to that. Who knows what that is though? But yeah, I don't know.
Let's get to the elimination. I mean, they got the news back. Tyler is very disappointed and says something a little bit passive aggressive to MJ about how this is going to change how he plays his game. Tina just goes, fuck.
Which Tyler won't be there long enough for that to really take hold. But.
Nope. Tyler will not. Tina will, as we'll see. I love Tina so much, Joseph. So much.
Oh,
dude.
She's great.
Oh my God. I had no idea.
Finally, someone's being like, hey, why'd you throw me into elimination? This is bullshit. Like, I feel like that doesn't happen anymore on these shows.
She's
like,
so
people
old
just
school.
like take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like,
I do too. Okay, we were talking about why Tina was cast after she quit in elimination. Usually you don't want to bring people back who quit, or at least we don't. I questioned it and it was like, I kind of get it, but like don't really love it. I was wrong. I love it. Bring me Tina every season. She is so great. She's like just the funniest.
We were wrong again.
Yeah.
Tina's great.
And on that note,
the elimination.
Elimination number 1. You ready? It's called Crawl Brawl. Yeah, because it rhymes. So Crawl Brawl. Not really much brawling going on.
I feel like they thought it might. Yeah. So if you guys don't remember, there's this long cage that they have to crawl through with a weighted sandbag, and they have to traverse it to the other side while they have to dig like this pile of dirt in between too.
Here, let me kind of help you out. There's a visual for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep. And then they have to bring all the weights through the other side until they gather them all together and then, carry them over and ring some bell.
That's right. Yeah. And this one is solid, I guess. I don't know. Medium.
Crawling challenges. That's really, no, I'm just kidding. I feel like it could have been, I get what they were going for. I just don't think it really played as great. It seemed like the Carabiners really held Tyler up. And
Tyler got off to a slow start. Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like they were on pace with each other with the first one. And then on the second one, he gets caught up with that clip. And I think that plus, maybe his lack of endurance, contributed to it. So, yeah, poor Tyler.
Yeah. This is poor Tyler, sure. I was so happy for Cyrus. Cyrus came in 40 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
He's someone that mean podcasters out there will maybe bag on him for losing eliminations a little bit, for like looking like talking like a big tough guy and then kind of losing most of the time, often to players like Derek who are half his size. We would never do that, but some jerks out there do. And I'm so happy that Cyrus shut all those people up with this return. Redemption. Go Cyrus. Yes, Team Cyrus always have been.
Like, hey, the one daily you can't do. And then you go home because you are colorblind. Like that was again. Yeah. You went out last time.
It would have been brutal. It would have been really unfortunate. And meanwhile, Tyler, I don't think he put in the work in the offseason that Cyrus did to come back ready to play.
I don't
So
know
this
how much
is
time
well
they have,
deserved.
really, based on Melinda coming back and her ankle still being up, and yeah, I don't know how much time they have. I don't think we're ever going to see Tyler again. And this was a very anticlimactic way for him to end his challenge career. Maybe he shouldn't have come back. I don't know. But I'm sure he doesn't care about legacy. He had a great time. So, but yeah, not the best farewell from Tyler.
No, I just don't think he came back in like fighting shape. Honestly, I think that was it. Maybe he didn't have enough notice. I don't know. Tyler's someone who only played 4 seasons before this, so we were pretty pumped to see him return after a long hiatus. He was someone who usually overperformed in challenges, eliminations. Yep. Back in the day, winning half of the challenges you do, even if it's only 2 out of 4, is really impressive. But All-Star seasons, he kind of went out with a whimper both times. I mean, the first time he lost to freaking Laterrian, so like that's no shame in that. No,
he held
shame
on
in that.
for a while too.
Yeah,
I think that, once again it's just like his endurance.
This time, not great.
Lost to a 50-year-old man.
Well, Cyrus is back though. I mean, like, look, he's leaner, he's meaner, he's ready to go. Like, I'm excited to see what the new Cyrus can do. I think it was well deserved. And then on the women's side, Cynthia, awesome line. If you cut her open, a bunch of wine will fall out apparently. So she's not feeling the most confident going into this, even if she says people tell her she looks like she's in good shape. And this one didn't really seem all that close. It seemed like Tina kind of just jumped out to a pretty early lead and never looked back.
Yeah,
not the most exciting.
Yeah, not the most exciting. I think Cynthia, she hasn't done these shows in a while. I don't really like her chances against anybody on this cast, actually. So,
not based on that elimination.
Not based on that. She did say she'll work out. Oh no, she'll get the call to come back. But like I said, World Miami Homecoming, big possibility. So hopefully we can see her again then.
All right. Well, I really liked what I saw from Cynthia. I thought she was really funny, really personable. Seemed like
and everyone was so sad about her going out. Tina was crying about her going out. Like everyone was very sad.
Yeah, which was also funny. Tina goes, "I don't know why I'm so fucking emotional these days." After she's crying about Cynthia going home. Okay, she just cracks me up. Yeah, maybe next time for Cynthia if she has more notice and can get back and, I don't know, challenge shape, which is really hard to do if you're a normal person who has a life. So, yep, short stint for her. Yes, Joseph, go ahead.
TJ lets them know, and I loved this. I don't know if you noticed this, but he's like, "You have these stars on your shirt," and Cyrus like pulls his shirt in front of his face like it's the first time he's ever seen it, as if like they didn't like put it on his shirt for him, or like they gave him a new shirt, or like whatever they did. He's like looks at it, he's like, "Oh," like, like, yeah, there we go. Hey, look at you.
Yeah.
So now they have the two stars. TJ doesn't tell them what this means. I guess this is the time where we guess. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, first I'd like to say a fun fact. Challenge is notorious for spoiling their own show often in montages. You really got to look at those with like through your fingers, like over your eyes, like, or maybe just don't even watch them. But as I watched the beginning montage of this season, I noticed that this is a shot, this picture of Cyrus with his 2 stars, very clearly in the montage. I mean, like, look, I didn't notice it. Is anyone going to notice it? Probably not. But he has 2 stars. Everyone else has 1. You kind of know how this elimination is going to go going into it.
But yeah, so I think that they could possibly be, if you get sent into elimination, you're like, oh no, gonna use 1 star. Somebody else has to go in.
Just 1 star. Wow. Even though everyone starts with a star, how's that work? Everyone continuously goes like, nope.
No, they
take
just
my star.
They just lose it. Their initial star, and if they lose the elimination, I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
The price tag should be higher. Yeah. Okay. I think I kind of get what you're saying. I don't know if they're going to be able to simply get out of an elimination in exchange for the stars. Maybe with enough of them. I thought it might work kind of like fire tokens from Survivor, where you can maybe win some luxury items, like maybe 2 stars. You can turn those in for 1 chocolate enema, for instance, before a daily to improve your performance. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, like if your bowels are bothering you, you know what I mean, before the challenge.
Which do you think is worth more, a chocolate enema or a coffee enema? Which do you think costs more stars, Joseph?
chocolate or coffee enema for sure.
I mean, that just makes more sense. I feel like chocolate. Like I don't understand how that
Dime
one
a
works.
dozen.
Yeah, I thought maybe it could be an advantage in a challenge. Actually, on a serious note, like there could be some challenges where the more stars you have, like the better starting position you have in a race, or something like that. Just like little rewards for winning eliminations. Do I think that's what's gonna happen? Probably not. I don't know. You got any other theories?
I the reason I feel strongly about mine is because I feel like if it was something else like that, where it was like maybe you had an advantage in a challenge or something like that, that it would have gotten revealed already, or if it had something to do with like the votes for the elimination or something, that it would have gotten revealed already in the second episode. So I don't really know. Maybe it's a thing of like the skulls, like you need a certain amount of
No,
stars against the
no,
final.
no,
Uh,
no, Joseph. No, I was hoping that wouldn't be the case.
no,
Please
there's
tell me
different. There's
that's not it.
stars.
No, no,
No,
no,
it's
no.
different.
Only people
But who
with
knows?
3 stars can run my final. No, please, don't want that.
All right. So, do we want to move on to the next episode? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, that was generally my plan. Let's go ahead and
Just
move on to
jump right
episode
into
2.
it.
Yeah, time
All
for
right.
part two of the episode, part 2 of our podcast. This half of the podcast is sponsored by Invisalign. Invisalign, the smile you want, the way you want it. Invisalign.
Wow. Incredible. So we have a pool party, and Melinda is worried that her association with Wes might get her thrown in. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, classic challenge, teeing up someone who's going to go home with a little story in the beginning of the episode. This is not a good sign for Melinda. If you're a first time challenge viewer, this confessional is not good. This is really not a good sign. And she does end up going home, but maybe not exactly for this reason. We'll see.
I
when
mean,
we get to
she
the
got sent in
authority.
because of it, but and then we get a scene of Mark. He's talking to his
Yeah.
mom. She's not doing too great. Well, she's actually doing better from what she said over the Zoom call, but she is in fighting stage 4 cancer. And Mark said that, he's here for her. And if that's not motivation to fucking lay it on the line, I don't know what is. And I would have to agree with him. And yeah, I knew he was not losing that elimination. One, because he's fucking huge. And two, because he has that huge motivation behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that besides what you already said. That's a really sad story. Really cool to see him win an elimination, and I hope his mom got to watch it and feel awesome about it because Mark is a freaking badass, and I love that we got to see that
Yeah,
later this
being
episode.
Letarian twice is no simple feat.
No, it's crazy
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, like Letarian said, I don't know how many other people would have beat Letarian in that
Maybe
elimination.
MJ.
Yeah, maybe. Certainly, Mark Long was able to. Question. Melinda said she rolled her ankle 4 times in the first half hour of the endurance portion of the final. How do you do that? Are rolled ankles like concussions where like you get one and then you get another one and then you get another one right after that? Or does she need a running coach?
Yeah, I feel like she's doing something wrong. Like, or
4
like, I don't know.
times
Like,
in
like
half an
that's
hour.
crazy.
I'm a
Like,
cross country runner. That doesn't happen that often. I promise
I've
you.
maybe rolled my leg like 3 or 4 times, like in my life, maybe
Yeah.
like badly. Like, I don't know. That just seems crazy.
I mean, usually when you roll your ankle, you don't keep running on it, to be fair, right? Like, if
That's
you
true.
sprain your ankle, so usually it doesn't happen. So maybe it was super unstable. I don't know. But she just like accidentally rolled it like 4 separate occasions. Like,
And I guess
that's
the
not.
show just does nothing. Like when you are about to get on, there's like, I guess they were just like, "Hey, how's that ankle?" She's like, "Oh, it's good," and then they were
Right?
like, "Okay." That
Yeah.
was like the extent of it.
How'd she get on with it? I mean, she said
Actually,
she
that might
re-injured
be
it a little bit.
that might be too generous to think that they even asked about it.
Yeah, Joseph, giving the producers way too much credit, thinking that they remembered that this happened on the previous season that they filmed. Okay.
No. So Sylvia and Wes are discussing who they could possibly use a sabotage on, and I love Kayla this season, man. She's just really getting after it. She is like, it would be best for us to use it to our advantage, and then Sylvia in the confessionals talking about, hey, Kendall or Kellyanne, these are good people to use it against, in my opinion, too, because not only are they good competitors, but are they really going to cause a huge stink if you know what I mean, throw them in or whatever? Probably not. So
Yeah. I thought this is a big episode for Kayla and Sylvia. And some of the moves that they played, which we'll have to get to after the challenge. One of the funniest ones, I think, in recent memory. That's not a trivia challenge. It's time for Out of Reach. Am I doing this right? Is that the name of it? Now I'm starting to have second guesses.
I feel like that might be the elimination.
Was it? Did I get them mixed up?
I don't know.
All right,
Anyway,
we're going back to the two shot of us. Let's talk
daily,
about talk about the daily.
They're on these swings that are high above the air. We know Darrell loves heights, and they are swinging on them, and they have to kick over this thing with a ball in it. The ball has these keys that open a chest.
That was it. I got it right.
They
it's Out of Reach.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So they fall into the water. They have to grab the ball, swim, unlock this box to a puzzle, solve the puzzle that is a star, and whoever does it fastest wins. And as we know, Sylvia and Wes have the options to use the sabotage.
Yeah, which we should talk about. I can't help myself though, Joseph. How are so many adults so bad at swinging? How is this possible? Is this not the craziest thing you've ever seen?
Do you not know how to pump?
Like, yeah. You go back and forth, back and forth. It's insane, right? How is it so hard?
Put them down. Put them up. Put them down.
And I know I can do it too, because I would try to go so high that I could lean back and be upside down and see if I could go like horizontal with the swing set. Like, it's not that hard, I don't think.
I might suck at this. Who knows? But
I want you to go out there before the next podcast. Go do some research. Go find your nearest playground, okay, and see how high you can get, please.
I don't think guy with a mustache hanging out with the playground and see how high you can swing is the best idea you've come up with.
All right, do it in the middle of the night. That way no one will be around. Okay, that'll be better.
I thought Letarian had a really funny line where he's like, "Man, who knew hanging out with my niece more would have prepared me for this challenge."
That was pretty funny. Yeah, that was a good one.
So Sylvia gives the sabotage to Kellyanne with the excuse that Kellyanne came in second.
This is the dumbest reason. This is so stupid. Get out of here. Why is she insulting all their intelligence? Was saying well, we did bottom two for the last time, so I feel like it was only fair that the top two get the thing. It's like, shut up. You just wanted to give it to her. Seriously.
That's what I love about Wes. As much as you say, like, maybe he is looking like too villainy to these people, I do love that he's just like, whatever. I want to say somebody's name. I'll say their name. Jordan's National Best Friends Day. You're going up, son. And Jordan calls it right away. He knows. He's like, I'm still gonna win. It doesn't matter. I'm that good.
He sees a swing, something that requires some amount of athleticism. He sees the rest of the cast and notices that there's a puzzle component, and he realizes, I'm going to do very well in this challenge.
Yes. And I feel like Wes, like, knowing the rules and everything like that, I guess, like, who else is he going to give it to? You know what I mean? That's an aspect to it. But I feel like he could have seen that Jordan would still have a good chance at winning this, knowing that, like, you have to only be in the top three of the men, as opposed to, like, just having to be one person who wins it.
Right.
Like I said, I don't even know if it was a bad move, because who else are you going to use on? Maybe Yes or someone like that. But I feel like anyone else, it's not necessarily the best decision either. So I don't know.
There aren't any really great options. This is definitely a punishment and not a reward, right? Like, a little 1 minute time penalty in exchange for pissing somebody off, and you have to give it to someone. So, and like, if you burn it on,
and they're gonna give it to them back, right? Like if they like win the next one, like, they're definitely gonna get the volley back. So.
Presumably. Here's a crazy idea. What if Wes and Jordan are working together in secret? They got a secret alliance, like Wes and Bananas did that one season, and it hasn't even been revealed to us yet, Joseph. Whoa, how cool would that be? Kind of cool, right?
So they get on the swings, and I mean, it would be cool.
Okay,
but,
just imagine if I'm right and this happens next episode. Oh, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna hold this over you for the rest of the season. This would be great. Probably not.
So Derek is the first person to get down, but as we know, puzzles aren't his strong suit. So seeing Jordan come
No.
second, I think I pretty much knew right away that he was gonna come away with at least one of the top three spots, if not the top spot.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be pretty hard for three people in the next heat to surpass his time. 'Cause Jordan wins the first heat. They're all dropping. And in fact, something really fun happens. Jordan finishes puzzle while Wes is still in the swing. And we get
I
a
was
really
laughing
funny
so
shot.
hard.
Oh my God. It was so funny. Like for me, I don't know what it was, but the visual where Jordan finishes, as you can see here, and then they're like on a playground in the background. They're still like slowly swinging away.
Is there a
It's
more
embarrassing.
West thing like in the universe than what happened? Like this episode was it was so perfect because it's just like everything we love about Wes.
Yeah,
Like he tries to be diabolical, tries to be strategic. It's successful in some ways, but also just has these moments too where he looks like a complete dumbass and karma just bites him in the ass, and it's very satisfying, even as a big fan of his.
Wes is Schadenfreude personified on the challenge. I think at this point, I think that's his role. Is to be cocky and to get punished at some point for it. I think he might even know it. I think he might even play into it. I'm sure he wants to win all these seasons, but I think he's more concerned, or at least largely concerned, with how he comes across. And I think he knows it's entertaining.
Being entertaining.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
entertaining. People love to root against him. He knows this, and it's funny as shit. Like Jemmy's like dying laughing at this visual right here for good reason.
So Laterian and Wes are fighting for the last spot. Wes gets it over Laterian, and yeah, it's not looking good for LT here.
Yep. Laterian finishes last in Heat 1 after timing out. So he's going to need a lot of help going into the next heat. This was, incidentally, an embarrassing look, right, for both Laterian and Wes. As it turns out, not even close to the most embarrassing performance of the day, though, Joseph, which is why this challenge is so great. I would argue that they're actually a third place, a distant third place for most embarrassing performances this challenge, because next we get the first women's heat, and this is where Kellyanne becomes unhinged.
Yeah, she was really freaking out over the puzzle, right?
She was
a little much.
She was going crazy, man. Yeah, she drops like what, second, I think, after John A, who wins the heat. Good for John A, good at puzzles. And then Kellyanne shits the bed, as Wes puts it, and just implodes completely on the puzzle. Even though Chummy has a line where she's wondering if she had a concussion as she's doing the puzzle because she can't figure it out. Doesn't matter. Even with all the time advantage of the world, Kellyanne just like cannot figure out this star puzzle, finishes last, and just is freaking out the entire time.
Yeah, and so it seems like a lock at this point because even if you even if you just stand still in your thing, if you just stand still and you time out and you solve the puzzle faster than Kellyanne, you could still, you know what I mean? You can still pull it out. Jemmy finished, I think, behind Kellyanne too, actually.
No, so, Kellyanne was last.
Was she? Okay, got it. Yeah. I thought I remember hearing Jemmy say something, but never mind. So that's all you have to do. Seemingly very easy. You just gotta. Oh my God, Tina. Oh.
Yeah. It's weird. All you have to do is basically finish. Like, just don't fall off, really, and you're golden in this challenge.
What happened here? Did she just try swinging and then she like leaned too forward, you think, and got stuck? That seems to be it, right?
Let me go in chronological order because like I just have to. I just really have to. There's one thing I want to point out that I thought was funny in the men's heat that's next. Yes wins heat 2, of course, and then Cyrus finishes his puzzle and he just looks so confused. He looks completely baffled by the fact that he completed this puzzle. In this picture here, he had the funniest facial expression. I don't know what he was thinking in this moment, but to me, that's what it looked like. Cyrus, you did it. You did finish the puzzle. You're not going in to the elimination. Okay, let's get back to. Yes, go ahead. We had Darrell. You're right. We should talk about Darrell a little bit.
No, you're good. Well, we're on the picture of Tina now.
So okay, all right. We've come too far. Darrell finishes last. Yes, it's his mother's fault for making him go on that roller coaster. Tina, what do you think actually like physically happened here? I rewatched this a couple times and I actually still don't really know for sure.
Her arms look like they're placed strangely, right?
I feel like her arms are not the problem though.
She's like falling. It seems like she has
Yeah.
like a backwards grip on them.
Yeah, yeah, you're describing the visual right here. I think her arms are like she's just trying to hold on. I think what the problem is like her foot got caught in a harness in some way, shape, or form, and that pulled her back and pulled her
Um,
head down. I don't know. I actually still don't know to this day. Something has gone terribly wrong for Tina though, and she very quickly falls off, DQing, which makes Kellyanne very, very, very happy.
yes. And it makes us very happy too because it was pretty funny. It made TJ pretty happy. He was laughing about it. TJ has a lot of fun with Tina.
He does. I love their dynamic. I'm glad you mentioned it. TJ and Tina are
Yeah,
really funny.
yeah, they're good together. He always tells her she's awesome.
Yeah,
So
which
even though
she
she
is.
quit, what is this, Eric? Who is this TJ?
I look, he's a forgiving TJ these days. Okay, like there's different quitters, and all is forgiven. I guess with Tina, I think he just listened to a few of her confessionals and was like, "Oh my God, Tina, you can quit like every other season. I don't even care at this point." Speaking
Yeah.
of
So
which, she goes, "I know I'm top heavy, but Jesus, really?" And then this is embarrassing shit. All of America is gonna fucking see this shit. She got such a fun little potty mouth. I love it.
and Kendall wins her heat.
Yep. Yep, she does. And the winners like don't really matter all that much, right? It's really just all about the top three these days.
Especially once they get into the tribunal, it seems like the people who actually won had the least power. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
once they
There's
were actually got to talking.
no agreements, no like respect for people who actually won. And everyone's equal in the authority. But for those curious, yeah, Yes is the overall winner, followed by Jordan and then Brad, and then Kendall is a winner on the women's side. So next episode we're gonna see how Yes and Kendall dole out their little punishments. I wonder who Yes is gonna give it to. Two guesses, and the second one doesn't count, which is of course a saying that everyone uses. John A. and Kayla are the other women, and before we get to the party and then the authority, we see Wes attempting to politic a little bit by kissing Jordan's hand.
And Jordan repeats the same confessional he basically gave us. Wes set the stage for him. He put on the bright lights, and Jordan was in fact a star. Man, he is so good. Like we keep saying it, and it's like it's just yeah.
He
It's
is quite
unbelievable.
good. He is quite good. He is talking a lot of shit for someone who didn't even win the daily though. Like I mean, he still got second. Like yes, beat him,
He had
but
a disadvantage.
he
Come
did
on.
have a 1 minute disadvantage. We don't know how close the puzzle was. It is a good showing. It's a really good showing by Jordan. Of course, of course. I like how they played it off. I like how Wes handles his defeats. This is a good move, I think. Make a joke out of it.
Yeah, just laugh it off.
Yeah,
It's fine. We're friends.
yeah. Remember that time I gave you the punishment, the sabotage? That was
That was
that was
funny.
funny. That was
That
funny.
was for
Good
TV.
times. I'll see you next
Good
episode.
TV.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Before
So they go to the party.
the authority, yeah, we got a party, and this is actually a pretty interesting scene, right?
Yeah.
We
I
get
thought so.
Tina attempting to play the social game, Joseph.
Yikes. Yeah, so I do think that, once again, like we said, you do maybe want to set yourself up to be like, hey, I think John A initially asked her, who do you want to go against? And she was withholding of that, which I think might have been a mistake there. When somebody in power asks you directly like that, I feel like maybe you want to say somebody at that point
Isn't that exactly what
instead
happened
of,
last episode that we were just talking about when Sylvia asked Cynthia, and you were like,
I think it's a different situation though because like I said before, it was very easy to go with just the people who were eliminated second. Like that was just like or were second to last rather. That just seemed like a very easy, like straightforward move. Where it seemed like a lot of people here wanted to make more like strategic moves at this point. I don't know.
I don't
They were
know,
ready to
man.
play already. I think.
It feels like, well, you're talking about what, Tina? Was Tina asked like who she wanted to go against, and
John A asked her, yeah.
yeah. I don't know. It feels like the exact same situation to me, man. I feel like I don't know what's the right answer or anything like that, but it
Well,
does.
I think like it just seemed to me like
Yeah.
John A wanted that. Like she wanted somebody from her, like in that moment. That's how it came off to me, I guess. I don't know. I
Like,
get what you're saying though. But It
Maybe,
just
maybe
seemed like
I can.
maybe it would have been better than what she ended up doing. So that
That I can agree on. Okay, whether or not she should have given a name or not, I still think that it gives people like an easy way out in the position of authority, and it also like kind of shows your cards, and you can potentially make an enemy. I don't think Tina should care who she goes up against all too much. Whatever the case might be, though, I think we can all agree that she did not handle it correctly by saying, if you put so and so in, if you put Melinda in, or if you put Veronica in, you're going to make an enemy out of me. You threatening someone from the position of being on the bottom, usually not ideal, right?
Yeah, I guess my point of view is just like if you want somebody to work with you, you got to work with them a little bit. So yes, it is revealing to be like this is the person I want, but it's give and take, right? If you're giving me that information that that's who you want, you know what I mean? Maybe you can expect them to give you that in return. Is it going to necessarily work out that way? No, but they are asking you for information. So being coy about it, I don't know if that's like especially it's like is Tina really not thinking about who she wants to go against? Like I feel like with somebody like Cynthia, it maybe makes more sense because she hasn't been on the show for a while. But I feel like they know that Tina would probably have an idea of who she wants to go against.
I don't know. Like it's so hard to answer these questions. We don't know their dynamic or their relationship. Like what's Tina's relationship with John A? I don't know. If they
Yeah,
were closer, then like yeah, I would agree. It would be kind of weird to not say anything relevant besides like, hey, I'm gonna come after you if you don't if you put one of my two friends against me. Like that's
I
not
think here's the
friendly.
thing too. You can't pick two friends, and like you also can't be like super threatening about it, like she was. But like two's too many. Like you gotta
You
be
think
like
one's a cutoff?
yeah, I think so, right? Like how many like it was so
I
funny to
don't know
me
the
when they were
math
like
on this. Is
I
that a
I
hard rule?
I think it should be if it's not. I feel like they were getting into deliberation. They were like, "Oh yeah, Luteri doesn't want to go against his friends Nehemiah, Darrell." It's like, come on, like let's do it. This is too many. Like I like everybody gets one. How about that? Like I don't know.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying. Maybe it should work like The Authority, where like it shrinks as the season goes on. Like first two episodes, you get two. Okay, we'll give you two. After that, one. That's it. There's too few people. You can't protect that many people. And if you're a Letarian, you certainly can't protect half the house. Okay, Letarian,
Yeah.
a little greedy,
Well,
trying to
apparently he
not
did
get
because
anyone.
he
Well,
actually did not get his friend pitted against him.
well, Letarian, be
Um,
careful what you wish for, because I don't think he
but
wanted to
John
go against
A.
Mark either.
does not like Tina's approach. She retorts this whole conversation back to Sylvia and Kayla. And Kayla has like a great confessional about this where she says, "We're not rewarding bad behavior. And if you're a loser, then you're a loser. And you don't have any choice of what happens here." And I thought it was really funny. And I'm really liking Kayla on this season so far. I
She
forgot how much I enjoyed her on this show. She really is somebody who doesn't go along with what everyone else wants. She's going to play her own game. In Dirty 30, she formed that alliance with Kara and Camilla, who ruled the game, and she stabs them in the back when she gets the chance. I like the way Kayla plays, man.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't recall how she played too much, and I'm pretty sure one of her biggest seasons was one that I've almost completely tuned out of my memory, which was Vendettas, which the one that she got to the finals, and that's all a blur. So I'm just gonna have to take your word for it on a lot of things she's done in the past. I do like that she came in playing hard, as we'll see when we get to the Authority this season. And it doesn't matter that she's like the youngest person there. She doesn't matter that she doesn't know a lot of these players. She kind of really set the tone, and I respect that. We'll see if she can keep the momentum going. But first, I got some pictures, and I want to use them. Joseph, I thought I'd just like to point out that we had some nice reactions to Tina politicking. First, there's Wes, as I've had up for a while now. And here's MJ looking very surprised and confused at the camera, which reminded
What's
me,
Derek
of
doing?
course, about
Confused.
this particular scene from, one sec, from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I thought this was like a one-to-one compare. Like, is this not the same look that MJ's giving? Here, I'm going to go back to
Uh,
MJ.
yeah, I
It's
yeah, yeah,
from
it's so
across the
funny.
room, framed by the people around him, looking confused and like he wants to get out of there. That's how people respond to Tina attempting to sweet talk her way out of
Yeah, it seems like
elimination.
the kingpinness has really not carried over to the All Stars. I think Tina and Veronica are used to playing a certain way, and nobody is willing to play their game. It seemingly.
No,
So
not working out great so far for for them too. But like you were saying, okay, you want to wax poetic about Kayla a little bit more in the Authority?
yes, this
Okay,
was to me the most interesting part of both episodes. This whole sequence right here. We get started with Yes opening the discussion in a very Yes way, asking Kendall, "I want to know what you're feeling or thinking or something like that." And Kendall's like, in a very All Stars type of way, "Hey, we're gonna send in the people who, they don't want to go against their friends, so let's try to, acquiesce that." And Kayla is just like looking at them like they're from a different planet. And she's like, well, they're not, they didn't win. We won. So we're going to decide. That's going to have no bearing on anything. And it seems like Jordan is on the same page with that. It seems like everybody else, except for Yes and Kendall, we're on board with that. Even an old schooler like Brad. So they then go through the process, and that's when you kind of see like the dissension, like I said before, between the old school and the new school. There's like the first signs of it, and Kayla's like, "Well, do we all just want to say who we want to protect?" And we get a confessional from Kayla that I thought was very savvy, where she's like, "Everybody knows I'm friends with Sylvia. Like that's nothing new, but like I don't know who these people are close with. Let's find out."
yeah.
And so she quickly offers that up, and yeah, says it seems like a very revealing process. Um, they all have to go
But they go
along with
along
it.
with it. She gets her way.
And he picked Jemmy, which I thought was interesting, as his person he wanted to save.
Yeah,
Um,
I let me just jump in and say, yeah, I think this was
yeah.
actually brilliant from Kayla. Like, this makes a lot of sense to me, and I don't think anyone. I certainly didn't know that this was her plan when she said it. I don't think anyone else in the
Oh
Authority
yeah.
sniffed this out. Really smart move. Really impressive. Because yeah, everyone knows that she's tight with Sylvia. So now we get to know that Yes wants to protect Jemmy and Derek. I don't know if these answers were on the up and up. Like maybe people were throwing out their number twos, number threes, if they wanted to be coy and be savvy about it. John A says
Yeah.
MJ, of course. That's also like no surprise, right? They worked very closely together and just won a freaking season together. Jordan and Naya. And Brad says Wes. So Jordan and Naya, I think, is a known quantity as well going into the season.
Yeah.
I did not know that Wes was on Brad's list of protections. Did you know that they were going to be playing together going in? Am I forgetting about a dynamic between them in a previous season?
We're seeing last season. We're seeing that Brad's talking about, hey, me and Nehemiah all of a sudden are best friends. So I feel like that's got to carry through with like him and Wes or something like that. Like they're all hanging out outside the show together and chilling.
It smells like a
That's
pregame
what I
alliance based on
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Although, like,
Yeah.
I forget how they ended up, obviously on good terms, but I thought Brad and Nehemiah didn't end All Stars 2 on the best of terms. Didn't they?
Well, no, because remember the next episode, Nehemiah told Brad, "Hey, man, don't vote me in," and Brad just needed to hear that verbally from him. He didn't want to send him in, but Nehemiah just never told him verbally, "Hey, don't send me in," and that was Brad's excuse. I mean, that was his reason.
Okay. Yeah. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
They've clearly patched things up, it seems like, because yeah, to protect Wes is to protect Nehemiah. I think the Austin
And I
connection
thought
is real.
this was a great move from Brad too, because maybe seemingly you're like, hey, now Brad's going to be like attached to Wes, but if you're going to go after somebody who's attached to Wes, you're always going to go for Nehemiah before you go for Brad, I think. And I think that it's in Brad's best interest to keep this Jordan, Yes, versus Wes and whomever else, Nehemiah alliance, like, Brattle going. Like that's in his best interest.
Yeah.
To have those sides go for each other.
Brad's pretty good at going deep in the game, I think. I think, especially in later seasons, he's played pretty smart political games, and he's probably going to stay out of the drama as best he can, especially this early on. So I like it.
Even though he did take a stand, in a way. You know what I mean? He knows that Jordan and Yes probably want to throw in Wes.
Yeah.
And Yes actually pushes back which I was surprised about. He really made like a stand to like try to throw in Wes here. Seemingly Jordan just went along with it. I don't know if something got edited out, but and I thought this was probably the correct move, honestly, from Yes and Jordan. I do think that you should just send Wes in here. Like I don't think it's any more complicated than that. I think the fact that Wes got away with one here was kind of incredible to me. So yeah.
It is kind of an impressive escape act, especially after Wes gave Jordan the old sabotage going into it. I'm really, once again, Joseph, early in the season, I'm wondering what are the numbers, right? Who's actually working with who in this season? Do you think it's possible that Wes and Brad are connected to Nehemiah and Melinda, but now she's gone. But through Nehemiah, we know Nehemiah is close to Cyrus and Latarian, who's gone as well, I guess. And did he also want Darrell? Like, did Latarian name Darrell as one of his people? Are these people
I feel
all
like
connected?
I
Like
don't know
Austin?
if Darrell and Wes would ever work together, so I don't think it's like that. I don't think there's any like big
That's just
alliance.
Latarian, yeah.
That would be my guess.
Okay.
But who really knows? Another thing I thought was interesting from Kayla is her throwing out that Wes was on the same season of Real World Austin with Nehemiah and Melinda. She threw that out there, and just piece of information. Do with it what you will, she said. But obviously trying to cast flame somewhere else. Seemingly, this did come back to affect Melinda and not Wes somehow. And they all go around, say who they're going to save, and the names that aren't said are Cyrus, Nehemiah, and Mark, seemingly. And we don't really know how it got down to Mark specifically. I guess nobody really wanted to stick their neck out for him too much, even though you wouldn't be on this show without him.
It's crazy. Yeah. I'm shocked that Mark went in this early. I mean,
me too.
Look,
we were talking in the preview show. Greatest social challenge player of all time. And then this happened. Sorry, go ahead.
He had only been in 2 eliminations in all of his seasons going up to this point. One of which was the final 4 of another season. Kind of like had to go in at some point there. He dodges eliminations like they're like breezes going by him left and right. And he seems to emerge unscathed almost every season. And now it's like he goes in out of nowhere with no one like talking about wanting to target him or anything. It's like it's just happened.
This was a shocker. And I love seeing them announce it to the people in the house. They were shocked. Mark was definitely surprised too. Do you think any of this has to do with like maybe the fact that he's called the Godfather? Do you think people maybe want to knock him down a notch? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think this was like a last person left over like by default thing. But here's the thing. I saw a tweet by Kendall who said something to the effect of, "I wish so badly that I could say what really happened in that authority," and like an angry face emoji.
Well, as we know from seeing Kayla on past seasons, Kendall on past seasons, she's very concise and articulate when speaking and explaining herself. So I'm sure whatever explanation she gives will be very coherent.
Is that a joke? Is you being sorry? Yeah, because
from the first season when she tried to
thing. Yeah. You guys good.
Come on, that was great.
It was a deep cut, man. It's a deep cut. Look, my memory banks just simply don't extend that far. That's what you're here for, Joseph. I keep having to remind you of this.
But yeah,
no, it was good. That was a good one.
Mark gets thrown in. He's surprised. He goes up to LT, and LT is surprised. I feel like LT maybe expected one of his friends to maybe get thrown in against him. But once again, we're getting these 2 big dogs up against each other. On a somewhat less climactic note, Melinda gets thrown in. Tina once again is upset. She says this is bullshit, and she says, I thought this was interesting. Jonna, she's a really nice girl, but she's cutthroat. Like she's got her teeth out. She's ready to pounce. Do you think that Jonna can continue to skate by like how she did last season? Having all this power, being someone who's seemingly like a huge threat too. She's like still doing good in the dailies and stuff like that. Do you think people will wise up to her?
Is she a huge threat? I don't know about that. Still, I mean,
Really?
she's doing
For the,
fine. She's doing all right. She made the top six, top three, or whatever in one of them, and not in the other, right?
so
Uh,
you still think you're still thinking like the Kellyanns and Kendalls of the world? You think you should be more like?
I think so. I think so, gentlemen. I
I
think
feel like
she's
John H is like a
good.
good all around player though. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
I'm
feel
just
like
saying. I don't think she's like a big threat to be worried about. Personally, like I think we
oh,
talked about this extensively. I think her winning the last season kind of fluky, kind of fluky. What it all came down to, the way that she and MJ dodged some eliminations, kind of made a lot of sense. I don't know. It just I don't think she's going to be targeted as a huge threat still. So yeah, I guess I agree. I do think she's going to fly under the radar a little bit, if that's what you're saying. Um, well, time will tell. I think she might get targeted for other reasons, for making moves and for going after certain people. Like maybe she's made an enemy out of Tina now. Tina did warn her. In all fairness, Tina said, if you put in one of these people, I'm going to go after you. Guess what? You did the thing. Tina's probably coming after you now. So she had to have known that was coming.
yeah. Um. So we go into the elimination, and what's it called?
This one is called. Wait, let me pull it up. And while I do that, can I just say we should have like a social media segment? I feel like, we're gonna do these recaps every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and that's enough time to see what people are saying on social media, right? So like, I caught the Kendall one. I think we should flesh this out. And by the way, if I ever hear what Kendall actually meant and what actually went down in this authority, you better
Yes.
believe we're going to talk about it here. So stay tuned. Hopefully, you'll have an update on that if she's ever able to say anything. Yes, Joseph, was that a? I want to say
No,
something.
that was just we're ready to get on it whenever we find out
Oh,
that
okay.
news.
Like here, I'm just gonna hold up a finger to say yes, we're ready to do that. Okay, got it. Lights out. A very not centered graphic. Lights out. That is the name of the elimination. Makes
This is
sense.
like similar to the elimination in the duel that CT blew against Brad, where he broke the carabiner. Except there's no carabiner in this one.
Yeah, they
They're
fixed
just
that.
pushing on this huge cylinder. One guy on one end, one guy on the other. There's a light in the middle, and they have to try to push the cylinder to where they're closest to the light, and they can turn it off.
That is how it works. Yeah. This is going
Yeah.
to come down to endurance and mass, I believe.
Mostly mass,
Mostly
I
mass.
believe, with
Although,
Mark Long, who looks like he weighs like 50 more pounds than Letarian, like seeing them
yeah,
side by side.
he's
Like,
got the height. He's got some height on him. He's a huge, very muscular dude.
I don't know if
Like
you guys
it's gonna be
know
tough
this,
to beat him.
but Mark Long is a physical goddamn specimen.
Yep.
I don't know if you've noticed. Yeah, but he's huge.
49 still should strike fear into everyone's hearts in this type of elimination.
Yeah.
For good reason. It's a marquee matchup. I think it's a rematch. We missed out on the other rematch, which was not an exciting one, and once again, not an exciting one. Melinda versus Tina. This time it's Melinda's turn to bow
Oh
out.
yeah, I didn't even think about that. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's inverse now. Wow.
kind of funny how things work out. So now they're
Yeah.
even. They've each been gifted a free win for different
Yeah.
reasons. Tina survives, and I'm happy
And
about that.
TJ's like, oh, now you're gonna get to pick who you go against, and I thought he was dead serious. Like,
Oh yeah, he got me too. I was gonna say the same thing. TJ actually got me
and
there.
I actually
I
thought
gotta
it was
give it to
cool at
him.
first. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Really?
Like, yeah.
Oh,
I
I
did
hate it.
not
I
think
was
about
I
the
was
fairness
ready to
of
mash
it.
my
Like,
keyboard. I was like, no way, you can't do this.
yeah. And I don't know if I love that TJ is able to do that. Like, just break like the challenge rules like that, where you can just like fake people out and do what you. But whatever, it was funny.
Could
Just
you
one time.
imagine if Tina just immediately shouted out a name and TJ was like,
I
"Whoa, wait,
know.
I was
Yeah.
kidding. You don't have to do that."
Ugh, yeah.
That'd be kind of
Whatever.
bad. I mean, now you get into like game show fairness laws, maybe even.
Oh, they don't. They don't. Come
Those
on, this
don't
is a
apply to the
challenge,
challenge. You're
baby.
right.
This is a challenge,
What am I
baby.
saying? Let's get
Yeah.
back
So
to the matchup.
it's pretty obvious at a certain point that this is just Mark's elimination to lose. And Then we have a moment where I really thought it was going to get interesting. We get another montage of Mark talking about his mom and being motivated by it. And John A realizes that as tired as Laterian is, he still has a chance to win this elimination if he runs in the opposite direction, super fast, catching Mark off guard, and hopefully pressing the button before him. Maybe it's a fight once you get up there. I don't know how it works, but it's a good strategy when you have really nothing else to go for, right?
Yeah, I thought this was really cool. I loved it. It was a great Hail Mary. Mark
Yeah.
was so close. It was clearly not going to work out the normal way. And I actually believe that there was a chance, maybe I'm an idiot, but I believe that there's a chance that if Laterian got all the momentum and knocked Mark off balance, that it was possible that
Yeah.
Laterian could just keep going and Mark would like struggle to recover and maybe he could sneak out a win that way. So
This is the throwing of the chain when Landon's trying to get it. They get discombobulated and they just don't. You know what I mean? Like you just catch them at the right moment.
I don't think you're
And Mark
happy
doesn't know
if
how to react.
I don't think you're happy if a day goes by and you don't bring up that Brad Landon elimination.
It was so great.
This
This is why Brad's number one.
all right,
No,
get
but
it out of your system for the day. Yes, great move by Brad.
yes, but this was a great try from LT. I love seeing that he went for it. Fortunately, it did not work out. I thought I would get sick of LT seeing him so much, and I'm not. Like I could see him come back, and I'd be fine with it. I think he's funny. I like that on this season we found out he wants to adopt a kid. I think that would be a great reality TV show of Laterian hanging out with his adopted son. You know what I mean? And then he's living the bachelor lifestyle still on the weekends. So I don't know if that'll get greenlit. Anyway, Laterian's been good for this time. He's been on All Stars. Who would have known that such a random character from back in the day would come back and become so beloved?
All Stars has done some great casting. A lot of the people they plucked back out of nowhere have gone on to be really fun on the show. So,
Hey,
yeah,
I'm sorry. And you know what? Good for Mark. Also, winning this elimination, doing
sure.
it for his mom, proving to people that, hey, just because I'm responsible for literally all of you being here, that I can still go into these eliminations and be a good sport about it.
Yeah, I was happy to see Mark win for sure. I mean, I do like Laterian a lot too. Didn't love this elimination. Would have loved for them both to go further in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark's had a cool story. He took last season off. We have seen a good amount of Laterian in the past couple seasons. So it's Mark's time to come back and take back his rightful role as the Godfather. And he looked kind of pissed at the end of this. I think this is going to be an interesting scenario in the house. I think a few people
Yeah, I
should
do
be
too.
happy that it's like maybe their target's gone down a little bit with Mark being angry at some of these players for putting him in.
Whereas if I feel like if LT would have came back, it would have maybe been status quo. I feel like Mark coming back in, now he's maybe a little annoyed with the Jordans and the yeses of the world.
Yeah.
I feel like Brad is somebody too who like Mark probably felt like I'm good if Brad's in that deliberation. Like I'll be fine.
I wonder how that's
Um,
going to go too. Yeah.
yeah,
It's such an interesting question because like people have been saying, you can make the easy excuse. Oh, I'm only one person out of six. Like I got shot down. I got outvoted or whatever. What if that's not exactly how it went down? What if people what if Brad acquiesced to Mark going in and didn't really
well,
put up all that much of a
I
fight?
feel like they're eventually going to find out that like, hey, it came down to he could save one person, and he said Wes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
people are
And
gonna
he
say that.
who
There's
knows?
five
You
other
know?
people in that group. Like
Yeah,
everything's coming out. Everything you say in
yeah.
there is going to be public knowledge at the end of
So
it.
so now Mark's playing with house money, right? Like he doesn't have to like be allied with anybody. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't owe anybody anything really.
I don't know how you're
Which
getting
is a
there.
different game for him. You know what I mean? Than we're used to.
Is that like what about all the people not in the God, I keep forgetting the name, the authority.
Well, how many of them is he actually like friends with? Like
I don't
Derek?
know. Not,
You know what I mean? Like, and that's like maybe it. I don't know who else he's super close to. And I think this deliberation was evidence of that. A lot of people like Mark, but he's not super close to any of them seemingly.
Again, I mean, yeah, but I feel like there's got to be a few people who weren't in the Authority who he's still allied with, right? It's not like he has zero attachments to
But is he
anybody.
anyone's number one?
I don't know.
I don't know. Not
I'm
a
not
great
up
place
to
to be.
date on all their pre-gaming and all their relationships. So I just got to keep watching it. You know, if you got
Yeah.
any insight, let me know. I'm
I would I
curious.
would I would venture to say he doesn't. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to watch because I don't think like I said before, we haven't seen Mark have to play from like a place of adversity, right? Where he gets sent in early and maybe the numbers aren't in his favor. So it'll be interesting.
Could it be Derek? By the way,
I did mention that. That was the one person I did mention. I said they could be really close.
Okay.
That's the only one I could really see.
Missed that. Yeah, they worked together in season one
But
quite a bit. But
even then, I feel like Derek and Darrell are boys. So like, yeah, maybe Derek's his number one, but is it the same? I don't know. Like,
just gonna have to wait and find out. It does.
I think Derek has Darrell's back before Mark. I would guess.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. We'll see. Mark alone and friendless in the game, according to Joseph. We'll see if that plays out that way in episodes 3 and beyond. Okay.
In the pudding.
Let's call it a day. I think that just about does it for these first 2 episodes. We've been rambling for quite a long time, even longer than usual. Next time, I think we're back to 1 episode a week, I believe, right? This was just like how they started things off.
Yes, hopefully they don't do this to us again.
Yes, this was tough.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
We love the challenge. We love the challenge, but we know you guys don't love our voices that much. So 45 minutes of it is sufficient enough. And on that note, I should stop talking. Eric, why don't you plug all our stuff?
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone, this far. If you're listening on podcasts, again, we are on YouTube. Look up Hello Reality, click subscribe, and you'll see us every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, going live to talk about this. And thanks for bearing with me these first few. Next time we'll have comments back up, hopefully video at some point too. We're trying to just really level up this whole venture that we got going on here, and vice versa. If you're watching on YouTube, let it be known that we got a podcast found everywhere you find podcasts. Apple, Spotify, all the places. Look up Hello Reality again. You'll find us. Thanks for listening, Joseph. I'm going to go just rattle off one more chocolate enema before sleep, okay? And then I'm going to hit the hay. That's the rest of my night. So got to get going. Signing off. Can't wait to see y'all next week. Any final words, Joseph?
Gross.
Okay, no more anime talk next week. I promise. That's it. There's a one and done. That's it. That's a solemn Hollow Reality.